Thank you for watching my revision of the book I wrote to teach homeschoolers world history. A Bible believer looks at world history, complete with quizzes and study questions in the back or in each after each chapter. I sell it on Amazon and Lulu.com. Now, I want to continue talking about what I was talking about last time. I'm talking about Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar is viceroy of Babylon by 607 BC until his father Nabopolassar dies, and as Jeremiah predicts, he defeats the Egyptians at the Euphrates, cutting off Necho's forces at Carchemish. See Jeremiah 46:2. He also takes Tyre and Phoenicia, as Ezekiel prophesies in chapter 29, verses 17 to 19. Tyre, of which Ezekiel predicts the complete annihilation of, begun by Nebuchadnezzar and finished by Alexander, was an important, if not the most important, Phoenician seapoint. Tyre, Tyre, was an important caravan destination depended upon by merchants from all over the ancient Near East and quite wealthy. The Holy Spirit, speaking through Ezekiel, not only predicts its downfall, but equates its king with Satan in the Garden of Eden. Tyre was located along a trade route that included Sidon, Sardis, and Carchemish, and then down to the Euphrates. Durant says that the coast of Phoenicia was a narrow strip of land 100 miles long and 10 miles wide between Syria and the Mediterranean Sea, being guarded by the mountains and hills from the rest of Mesopotamia. They were the busiest merchants of the ancient world and masters of the sea once they became liberated from Egypt about the time of the Exodus. They manufactured various products of glass and metal, enameled vases, weapons, ornaments, and jewelry, and had a monopoly on the purple dye so valued by royalty. Purple was the color of royalty in the ancient world. They extracted this dye from mollusks that lived in plenty along their shores. The women of Tyre were famous the ancient world over for beautifully colored needlework. Tyre was extremely wealthy and powerful in that everyone had a stake in their continuing to supply every luxury to every city in the Middle East and around the Mediterranean. They were shrewd traders and, not content with this, enslaved thousands in Spain to mine precious metals. They were not only merchants but pirates and often stole the entire cargoes of their rivals and enslaved their sailors. They established garrisons around the sea that eventually became flourishing colonies: Cadiz, Carthage, Marseille, and Malta, in Sicily, Sardinia, Corsica, and even in England. They occupied Cyprus, Milos, and Rhodes. They took the arts and languages of Egypt, Crete, and the Near East and spread them in Greece, Italy, and Spain. The Tyrian Phoenician mercantile empire tied the East and West together with a common thread of greed. Now, Tyre was built on a rock several miles off the coast. It began as a fortress, but its great harbor and its security from attack soon made it the metropolis of Phoenicia. The high-rise skyscrapers that Strabo reported as being taller than anything Rome produced existing there were later completely destroyed by Alexander, as promised in Ezekiel 26 to 29. At this time, the Medes, later important players in the politics of the ancient world, are at war with the Lydians, whom are thought to be the ancestors of the Etruscans, according to Michael Grant in his book, The Etruscans. Now, Necho's defeat at Babylon's hands keep him from leaving Egypt for the rest of his reign. The date of the destruction of Jerusalem and the temple by Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, is hotly argued among historians. Dates given range from 606 to 607 BC to 588 BC. The date does become important with regard to prophecy, but not for the purposes of what I'm talking about. Quote, Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunk, and the nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore the nations are mad. Jeremiah 51:7. So I'm going to continue talking about Babylon next. Thank you for watching this. Please click like. If you have comments to make or disagree with something I've said, please post it in the comments. Thank you.